Alright, welcome back, Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classic / Non-Classic. This episode number, 1686, and Doubleshot number 1580. I have two trades here to collect issues by Kurt Busiek. Yes, Kurt Busiek. First up is something that is one of the two best books of his whole career, The Marvels. Yep. And it's called War in Siancong. And you're probably thinking, what the heck is Siancong? Well, there is a bit of an explanation for that. According to the recent The History of the Marvel Universe, this was a canon miniseries, they basically changed the conflict for the Vietnam War to the Siancong War for some reason, which they bring up in this book. Yeah, this is something Mark Waid wrote. I have no idea why the heck they thought it was a good idea to basically retcon the Vietnam War to never even happening in the Marvel Universe. It's been part of the Marvel Universe since it happened. It's been happening in real life. I'm not sure who the heck at Marvel thought this was a good idea. I mean, why would you retcon an actual conflict? Or at least change its name? Yes. Now, there's a few new characters pop up in this book. Clearly, you can tell with the cover, it's Alex Ross. You have Arrow, which is interesting, though, the fact that Kurt Busiek tried to use this character because this character is barely used nowadays, ever since the cancellation of a brief ongoing series. Because here are your primary characters: the Avengers, Spider-Man, Arrow. We had this guy called Cthulhu and Thunder Needle. Well, actually, it's a guy named Kevin Schumer. Yep. Now, the artwork in here, I believe it's done by the same guy who did the original book. Original artwork book from the 90s. Yandra Keller, I believe so. The artwork is done by Alex Ross, of course. We'll also put what happened in the Siancong War from the Kurt Busiek perspective. We have Lady Locust, who is a character from the Invaders book, who, by the way, it was retconned afterwards, not by Roy Thomas, by a different writer, that because she took she basically brainwashed a Japanese suit villain, part of Axe, to do her bidding. When he found out about it, in response, he decided to rape her. Yes, he did do this, as punishment for daring to brainwash him. Yes. A female supervillain got raped. And to date, it's the only known female supervillain I can think of that's actually happened to. In this book, it's not brought up at all. It's just like Lady Locust just randomly shows up in Siancong for reasons, and to protect and create this black spear, which is kind of like the main focus of the series. And they have this character here. Her name is Warbird. Yes, her name is Warbird. Not the alien Warbird that Jason Aaron created. This is a different character. By the way, Kevin Schumer. By the way, his name is barely mentioned in this book. He apparently gets some of his tech from the Terrible Tinkerer, which I thought that was interesting to say the least. And of course, we have some unlocking of secret histories, some secrets in the Marvel Universe. That's one thing I love about this series is the whole exploration of the Marvel Universe as a whole. And my guess is the reason why Marvel did this as an ongoing series, because I'm sure Kurt Busiek probably begged Marvel editorial to do this. And, well, he got his wish. It's ongoing. And aside from the Siancong stuff, which I agree, I'm not really a big fan of this because if I heard one person, the reception, this is kind of a bad idea to do, the whole Siancong stuff. Aside from that, it's a pure fun book. I personally love it. It clearly shows, though, that Kurt Busiek clearly knows how to write these characters. And, of course, it's awesome that Alex Ross is doing the artwork. My guess is the reason why he said this now, because he just wrapped the way we did for Astral City, and now he wants to do the same thing with Marvel, just have the series go a certain period of time, and before it finally ends. Probably in his terms, he probably has full control of this book. But this book is really good. I'm going to give this book a 10 out of 10. It's just really good. Alright. Let's talk about a book. Okay, so we're going to talk about the final trade of Kurt Busiek's run for that. Well, I've already discussed some of his later issues that were collected in Hawkeye and Thunderbolts, because I thought though this particular classic run ended with his run, which is 33, I think it was. Yeah, this trade doesn't do that. Simply put, if I can get this one here, thank you. Come on, that's what they just meant. We have Thunderbolts Classic Volume 3. Yep. So, this contains issues 15 to 22, the Captain America Citizen v Annual 98, and Avengers Volume 3, Number 12, which Kurt Busiek wrote that book. Now, he co-writes some of the stuff with Carl and Barbara Kitzler, and of course Mark Bagley does the artwork, and George Perez does the artwork for Avengers. Mostly put for these issues, basically. Now, I should point out that Zemo is not with Thunderbolts anymore. They revolt against him. So, simply put, the Thunderbolts are on the run from the government, and they basically just go on the run when they come back to Earth. Yep. And also in the case of Joystick, for some of the basic, I think it's probably for Moonstone anyway, it's probably the first time to take off her mask the entire series. Yeah, because if you read this entire book for the first 14 issues, you never see without a mask on. You can clearly tell how Mark regularly draws her. Like, Carla Soft is a beautiful woman. And I like the fact he shows us off, though, about this when it comes to her. Yep. And one thing about Joystick, it looks like, though, she could be possibly Asian, possibly by the look of her face. I don't know. She possibly is. But Kurt Busiek, I don't think created her that I can think of. I don't think so, no. Her name is Hallie. She is a creation. Oh, she did first print this book. I thought she did. It's my mistake. Yeah. I keep thinking that she was actually Joystick, but that was a completely different character. Yeah, and she's here for a... Like, I should point out, though, she never leaves the book. Well, she does by issue 75. She's popped up occasionally since then. Her most recent appearance is actually in the most recent volume for Thunderbolts. Yep, she popped up for 2 of the 3 last couple issues for the 3rd volume of the series by Jim Zeb. I'm not counting his review because just exploring all the stuff, but yeah, it's almost like the Fame of the Season basically have featured heavily in the book, along with, well, Kurt Busiek, obviously. And I think Hallie herself is a great character. I kind of wish they'd use it a little more than just basically appearing in the Thunderbolts. And mostly put in the way, well, you have Techno basically working with Zemo for reasons. Yep. And you have S.H.I.E.L.D. come after him still. And then by issue 16, they're confronted by the Great Lake Avengers. And you're probably asking me, Nick, who the heck are the Great Lake Avengers? They are, get this, an Avengers team for the Great Lake region for the United States. They made a first appearance back in, I think it was West Coast Avengers 46. Their creation of John Byrne, believe it or not. Yes, John Byrne created these characters. And these characters, since Avengers West Coast, has occasionally appeared over the years. And get this, they actually have one legitimate superhero join them prior to the most recent book they had, which got abruptly canceled after 7 issues. They had Squirrel Girl part of the team. That's when Dan Slott wrote the miniseries. Yep. This was back in like 04, I think it was. Yep, Squirrel Girl was part of that group. Yeah, the group was comprised like Immortal Man. There's also Big Bertha, who was actually a model who does transform into this, though in the most recent one, she actually got stuck in this form, and she's trying to get out of it. This dinosaur woman, her name is Sonar, and apparently she had a relationship with Mortal Man. You also had Flat Man, who is actually openly gay character, and Dimensional Man. Yeah, this is something that Kurt Busiek did not create this group at all. Here's something really weird though. At the cover, they call it the Lightning Rods, and the thing with this group is they have had to change name multiple times over the years. They call themselves Lightning Rods. They're currently called Great Lake Avengers. They call themselves Great Lake X-Men, Great Lake Champions. And get this. When they had Civil War 1 happen, they actually were the first people in line to get registered. Yes, the Great Lake Avengers got registered. They were the first people who got registered. I'm like, really? So, in other way, and here's the thing. They have sporadically appeared over the years. And this is one of their sporadic appearances. And I believe it's like the only book appeared. And of course, we got to have a guest appearance by the Hulk. Because, well, they made their first appearance in the Hulk book. Excuse me. And then, of course, you have Citizen V pop up. Though, that's not the end of it. Oh, it's just a robot. Hulk robot mind, not the actual Hulk. And then we have Graviton. Yes, Graviton. Which is a good thing that good thing that Great Lake Avengers know the heck who he is. I say he's back. Yeah, apparently he last appeared in Avengers Unplugged, number 2. So, this is first appearance in a few years. Yeah. Yeah, then of course, after the whole Graviton thing, and then for the next couple issues, they battled the Masters of Evil. Well, first of 2 lineups Masters of Evil. Yep. That's what they do for issues, I think it's like 18, 19. They also has new villain Charcoal for issue 19. Yep. Also, they have a new base, a cabin, for a somewhat brief period of time until Fabian the Seeds takes over and has moved into a mountain, which were still there up until they moved to the Cube, which is a former prison. So, and apparently have a new ability for Moon, so apparently she can walk through walls. Yep, walk through walls. So, and then we have another fight with the Masters of Evil in issue 20. After that fight with Charcoal for one issue. Yep. Fight the first of 2 teams. And then we have this guy called Dread Knight, who is an Iron Man villain. Except this is not Dread Knight. Nope. At the end of issue 20, it's revealed this is actually Hawkeye. Yep, Hawkeye. And you're thinking, what the heck is Hawkeye doing with Thunderbolts? It's actually the reason why he actually joined them, because he actually had a criminal record. Yep. And he also fights Black Widow to join the team. Yep. Yeah, the Black Widow. And he's offered to join the team, making him the first person to officially join the team since issue 4. Yep. And then, so they had basically offered people to get pardons. And then we have Atlas fight Hercules for an issue. Yep. And that's issue 22 for you. But the thing is, and then we have the annual from Captain America where he fights Citizen V. It's an awesome annual. Except the Citizen V is not, this actually is, I should point out, this is not Baron Zemo. This is Dallas Rodman, I think her name is. Who actually was the new, yeah, she's revealed to be the actual new Citizen V by the end of this. Yep. And then we also have in here Thunderbolts Zero, which basically just kind of basically showcases the series as a whole at this point. And then we have Avengers Number 12, which is the last issue in the trade, which is also by Kurt Busiek. It's simply the Avengers' response to Hawkeye joining Thunderbolts, and that's it. That's the trade for you. Yep, 1522. 22 being the end of, and of course, basically the reason why the trade series had to stop here at Volume 3 and change its name to Hawkeye and Thunderbolts was because Hawkeye joined the team. That was the only reason why. And it's shocking, though, that they never produced any more trades beyond just 2 volumes. Not really sure why, it's just, well, they did. And in case you might be asking, like, did I like the fact that Jolt stayed throughout the entirety of not only Kurt Busiek's run, but also a majority of the issues done by Famous Caesar? Yeah, it's actually a pretty good idea. My final thoughts on Kurt Busiek's time as the writer for the book. It's interesting, though, he actually left after 33 issues, which is not that long period of time for him to be on the book, but he did. Yeah, and I don't really know why Marvel decided not to collect issues 751 to 75. They did kind of collect this in an omnibus, a couple of them. They collected some of the issues in 5163 in the second volume for Thunderbolts Omnibus. Yeah, but that was the most recent thing they did with the book. But it's almost like for this era, they just had to stop for some reason. I don't know why, but they did. And the Fight Bowls issues, that is actually a trade, believe it or not. Yes, it is. Now, this trade was released almost 10 years ago. Yep, 10 years ago. And then, of course, they had the Hawkeye and Thunderbolts come out 4 years after that. Why the heck wait 4 years? I have no idea. I kind of wish, basically, they would do more trades this era because I like this era for Thunderbolts. Now, what ranking do I give? Thunderbolts Classic Volume 3. I give this a 10 out of 10. It's pure classicness of Thunderbolts. My final thoughts on Thunderbolts, Kurt Busiek's anyways, is that it's a good start for the series. And it's interesting, though, that Kurt Busiek, he hands out famous. He's another really good writer. I kind of wish I would talk to him about his run for Thunderbolts. I never talked about his run for Thunderbolts when I met him. I'm also talking about Deadpool. I think it was just Deadpool and Full Super, a few other books, but I never talked about his run for Thunderbolts. I kind of wish I did. I really wish I did. If I meet him again, I will ask him his run for Thunderbolts because I found his run to be pretty good. I love his run. It felt as though basically he was respected, Kurt Busiek established, and basically expanded upon it. And good idea for him to keep Mark Bagley as the artist, who did pretty much a majority of the issues with the first 75 issues. I think he skipped like 2 the entire time. Yep. But yeah, not much else to say with these 2 books. In the case of Kurt Busiek's time, it's a good run. Famous is just as good. Yep. So yes, that's going to be it for this particular video, and that's it videos today. As in the case of tomorrow, if in fact that, if I have time to do a video, I might do 1 if I'm lucky. 1, okay? To the next video.